Midway through the series of plans, the community's involvement in the life of society began to become the focus of more direct attention. The believers were encouraged to think of this in terms of two interconnected areas of endeavor: social action and participation in the prevalent discourses of society. These, of course, were not alternatives to the work of expansion and consolidation, much less distractions from it. They were inherent within it. The greater the human resources a community could call on, the greater became its capacity to bring the wisdom contained in Baha'u'llah's revelation to bear upon the challenges of the day, to translate his teachings into reality. And the troubled affairs of humankind over this period seemed to underline how desperate was its need for the remedy prescribed by the divine physician. Implied in all this was a conception of religion very different from those holding sway in the world at large. A conception which recognized religion as the potent force propelling an ever-advancing civilization. It was understood that such a civilization would also not appear spontaneously of its own accord. It was the mission of Baha'u'llah's followers to labor for its emergence. Such a mission demanded applying the same process of systematic learning to the work of social action and engagement in public discourse. Viewed from the perspective of the last 2.5 decades, the capacity for undertaking social action has risen markedly, leading to an extraordinary efflorescence of activity. Compared with 1996, when some 250 social and economic development projects were being sustained from year to year, there are now 1,500, and a number of Baha'i-inspired organizations has quadrupled to surpass 160. More than 70,000 grassroots social action initiatives of short duration are being undertaken each year, a 50-fold increase. We look forward to a continued rise in all these endeavors resulting from the dedicated support and stimulus now provided by the Baha'i International Development Organization. Meanwhile, Baha'i participation in the prevalent discourses of society has also grown immensely. Besides the many occasions when the friends find they can offer a Baha'i perspective in conversations that occur in a work or personal context, more formal participation in discourses has significantly advanced. We have in mind not only the much expanded efforts and increasingly sophisticated contributions of the Baha'i international community, which in this period added offices in Africa, Asia, and Europe, but also the work of a vastly augmented, greatly fortified network of national offices of external affairs, for whom this area of endeavor became the principal focus. In addition, there were insightful and notable contributions made by individual believers to specific fields. All this goes some way towards explaining the esteem, appreciation, and admiration which leaders of thought and other prominent figures at all levels of society have again and again expressed for the faith, its followers, and their activities. In reviewing the entire 25-year period, we are awed by the many kinds of progress the Baha'i world has made concurrently. Its intellectual life has thrived, as demonstrated not only by its advances in all the areas of endeavor already discussed, but also by the volume of high-quality literature published by Baha'i authors, by the development of spaces for the exploration of certain disciplines in the light of the teachings, and by the impact of the undergraduate and graduate seminars systematically offered by the Institute for Studies in Global Prosperity, which, in collaboration with the institutions of the cause, now serves Baha'i youth from well over 100 countries. efforts to raise up houses of worship have very visibly accelerated. The last mother temple was erected in Santiago, Chile, and projects to build 2 national and 5 local Mashriq al-Azkars were initiated. The houses of worship in Battambang, Cambodia, and Norte del Cauca, Colombia, have already opened their doors. Baha'i temples, whether newly dedicated or long established, are increasingly occupying a position at the heart of community life. The material support offered by the rank and file of the believers for the myriad endeavors undertaken by the Friends of God has been unstinting. Simply viewed as a measure of collective spiritual vitality, the generosity and sacrifice with which, at a time of considerable economic upheaval, the critical flow of funds has been maintained, nay, invigorated, is most telling. In the realm of Baha'i administration, the capacity of national spiritual assemblies to manage the affairs of their communities in all their growing complexity has been considerably enhanced. They have benefited in particular from new heights of collaboration with the counselors, who have been instrumental in systematizing the gathering of insights from the grassroots across the world and ensuring they are widely disseminated. This was also the period in which the Regional Baha'i Council emerged as a fully fledged institution of the cause, and in 230 regions now, councils and those training institutes they oversee have proved themselves indispensable for advancing the process of growth. To extend into the future the functions of the Chief Trustee of Huququllah, the Hand of the Cause of God, Ali Muhammad Varka, the International Board of Trustees of Huququllah was established in 2005. Today, it coordinates the efforts of no less than 33 national and regional boards of trustees that now compass the globe, which in turn guide the work of over 1,000 representatives. The developments which occurred at the Baha'i World Center during this same period are many. Witness the completion of the terraces of the Shrine of the Bab, and 2 buildings on the Ark, and the commencement of the construction of the Shrine of Abdul-Baha, not to mention a host of projects to strengthen and preserve the precious holy places of the faith. The Shrine of Baha'u'llah and the Shrine of the Bab were recognized as World Heritage Sites, places of inestimable significance for humanity. The public flocked to these sacred locations in their hundreds of thousands, approaching 1.5 million in some years, and the World Center regularly welcomed hundreds of pilgrims at once, sometimes more than 5,000 in a year, along with a similar number of Baha'i visitors. We are delighted as much by the raised numbers as by the scores of different peoples and nations represented among those who partake of the bounty of pilgrimage. The translation, publication, and dissemination of the sacred texts has also been greatly accelerated, in parallel with the development of the Baha'i Reference Library, one of the most notable members of the growing family of websites associated with Baha'i.org, which itself is now available in 10 languages. A variety of offices and agencies have been established, situated at the World Center and elsewhere, charged with supporting the process of learning unfolding across multiple areas of endeavor throughout the Baha'i world. All this, our sisters and brothers in faith, is but a fraction of the tale we could recount of what your devotion to Him who was the wronged one of the world has brought forth. We can but echo the poignant words once voiced by the beloved Master when, overcome with emotion, he cried out, "O Baha'u'llah, what hast thou done?"